So, what a difference a couple of weeks makes as far as the roses are concerned. So, it's been a while now since I showed you the front garden, so I thought I would just take you and give you a look at the progress so you can see how things are going. We have actually finally some colour in the garden. It's an absolute joy to see. So starting off on this border, I'll just give you a quick pan over to see what we've got. Hello birdie. Nice to hear the birds singing again. Right, so here first I've got a beautiful white peony. It was a gift, so I'm not sure exactly what the variety is, but it smells amazing. Behind that you can hardly tell the difference really very well, but I've got a timeless cream. And then we've got the anniversary rose. I just love those buds, they're so rich. They're just a really lovely red wine colour, and then they open out obviously to the paler colour, which is still a really nice dark pink. I'll just take you around the other side actually, because it's probably quite nice to see the actual flower close up. Beetle with a hoverfly. I think hoverflies eat the little bugs and green fly as well, so they're a beneficial insect for us rose growers. I don't know why, but sometimes on this sort of colour, when it's a sunny day, the sun does tend to glint off the petals and give it a strange sort of effect. And just a couple of days later, this anniversary rose is looking really magnificent now that all the buds are open. What a difference. It's absolutely stunning. Look at that. It's a very deep flower on this rose. Really lovely, with a beautiful fruity fragrance. Always very reliable. Full of blooms. Just gorgeous. Okay, so moving on, we've got another couple of young roses excuse me, in here that were moved in the spring. Behind that we've got two tranquillities. A smaller one here at the front. I haven't been out yet and deadheaded, so that's what I'm doing today. I brought my bucket under my bag so I can get everything cleaned up, but that's beautiful rose tranquility. Again, I've brought you back to have a quick look at Tranquility now that her buds have opened up. There we go. Isn't that a sight for sore eyes? Quite a flat flower when they open, but really beautiful in all stages really. And a lovely fresh apple fragrance. This is on one of my highly recommended for newbie growers list, as was the anniversary rose, because they're so floriferous and very easy to grow, really disease resistant, and not a lot of trouble at all. So yeah, this is a good, another lovely sight to see. I like to mix geraniums in, hardy geraniums in with the roses, because I just think they complement them so nicely. Now this rose has finally come out, oops, sorry about that, come into bloom. This is a really bright magenta red. Got two of these as well, there's one at the back. That's a David Austin rose. That's LD Braithwaite. Probably not such a popular rose nowadays. No scent to that rose, but it's really stunning. Moving along. Lots of herbs, oregano in this bed, which will be flowering soon, so I'll be able to chop it right back because it does tend to get rather leggy, but I like to dry it, so I'm just going to have to put up with it for a while. So we have another anniversary rose here, needs deadheading. Moving around. This is William Shakespeare 2000. I showed you it on the last video, just full of buds ready to go, and she's finally got into blooming. Flopped a little bit on the top with the wind that we had the last few days. We have the usual June drop, which is when we get the really strong winds, and the purpose for that really is so that the fruit trees can drop some of their fruit, because they usually carry too much, and as you'll probably see later on when I take you round to look at all of the fruit trees, you'll notice they're absolutely heaving with fruit this year. So that'll be giving me something to do in the autumn time, which I quite look forward to. I like to stew and bottle as much fruit as I can to use over the winter. A couple of days later, on William Shakespeare 2000, the flowers are really well open now, and they are absolutely massive. I would say you're talking, well look, I've got a big hand and just like a pom-pom, fluffy, and they curl, the petals curl back so that they're almost a ball, and there's a beautiful fragrance. I really do love this rose a lot. It's absolutely stunning, it really is. Look at the flower. Again, it's another one of those flowers, roses, where you look at the bud and you think, how can that turn into that? The size of it. This is absolutely massive, but very light and fluffy. She's starting to drop some of her petals now. I think this is basically first flush over. So we'll wait for her to bud up again, which she will. Lovely. Here's Gertrude Jekyll. Again, the sunshine, it's just this colour where the sunshine just seems to reflect straight off the petals and just give it a really strange colouring. You're all right in the shade, but as soon as you get that sunshine glinting against the petals, you get that really weird shade. That's the first one, and then I've got another Gertrude here who is absolutely desperate for some deadheading. She's such a heavy producing rose, always in bloom once she starts, and so you've really got to be out here deadheading often. Iceberg, the trusty stalwart of my garden. And a bit further on I've got just a single bloom all on its own, and that one's Boscobel, which I adore. I love the fragrance of this rose. To be honest with you, it reminds me of, do you remember the swizzle lollies that were just like a powdery, not so much or even the original swizzle sweets, which were just in a small packet. They just had that certain flavour, and that rose has got the scent. It would match that flavour. So that's Boscobel, and she's lovely. Moving on now, we've got James Galway. Sorry, my lovely, you desperately need to be deadheaded. The thing with James Galway is, if you don't deadhead him when he needs to be deadheaded, it doesn't take long before he stops producing flowers. His old spent flower heads start to develop into a rose hip, and that just stops production. So you need to be on the ball with this one. Beautiful flower. So get in there and get your pruners out and get deadheading, and he'll keep producing for you. So in the corner we've just got an iceberg here. Again, I think with the iceberg roses, if you want them to climb a little bit, just put them against some sort of a structure, or give them some support, and more often than not they'll start to get taller, and then you can tie them in. This one's pink perpetual. Not a great producer of blooms, but the ones that she does have are very robust, and they last for absolutely ages. I suppose it helps the fact that this tree is a rose amongst the trees, because she is actually planted at the base of this tree, which is the rule you're never supposed to break, but as you know, I break all the rules with my roses. I like to mix and match and try and see what works, and most of the time it's not too bad, but if it doesn't work out, you just reverse what you've done and start again. It's as simple as that, really. Another iceberg, and back to our wonderful Listophan. She's bloomed for so long. Once she stops blooming, that will be it for the year, but once she starts, she blooms for a good couple of months. Lovely icebergs flopped a bit there. Again, a quick view of this rose, which is iceberg, now that it's fully opened. So pretty, these flowers, so beautiful, the little rose buds, just gorgeous. I love this rose, I really do. Now this particular shrub does tend to get a bit of powdery mildew later on in the year, and the reason for that is because the front garden here is very free draining, and so she gets very dry. No matter how much water I give her, she usually suffers from it, so that's her only drawback as far as I can see. other than that, she's absolutely perfection. She shines out through the evening, and when it starts to get dark around 10 o'clock at the moment, white is the last colour that you see in the garden. So all these icebergs, they just glow like the moon. She doesn't have a lot of scent, but that's fine. It doesn't matter if an odd rose in the garden isn't fragrant, because the rest of them take over and provide that fragrance for you anyway. So that's my beautiful iceberg rose. Isfahan. I really must learn how to say this name properly. Just about starting to go over now, needs a lot of deadheading. But because she's a once flowerer, I usually prune her at the same time. She gets pruned in the summer after the flowers have gone over, and then I don't touch her until after flowering next year. Another iceberg next to her. Now this one's come out in colour. Look at all the buds to come. Such a good doer. And another really highly recommended rose for newbie growers, because they're so easy. Good for cutting. Full of flowers. And they fit in anywhere in your border. You can prune them quite hard, although I do find with iceberg, the bigger you allow the shrub to get, the healthier it is. Just look at those lovely flowers. I'll never stop raving about this rose, because she's absolutely beautiful. She really is stunning. So Isfahan's there, beautiful, really fragrant rose. Lots of deadheading to do, but I am actually going to, after I've done this video, I'm going to clear her of a lot of her roses, because I want to have a go again at making some rose syrup, rose petal syrup. I made some last year and it's absolutely gorgeous and so easy to make, but you do need to make sure that your roses are free of any sorts of sprays, which mine are. I don't spray my roses apart from Uncle Tom's, but these haven't had any Uncle Tom's for quite a long time. And then you wash them, pick them, remove them from their hip, and you wash them, and then you put them into a tub or a plastic bag and mix them with sugar. It's just guesswork for me, I'm afraid, but just put plenty of sugar in. Seal the bag or box or tub and put them in the fridge, and you'll just notice that the colour will drain out of the petals and into the syrup, the sugar syrup. This is Minerva. Lovely rose. James Galway at the back there. And so then when you think the syrup's brewed enough, iceberg again, then just strain out the rose petals and pop your syrup in some sort of a bottle or a jar that you can seal, and put it in the fridge. So here's the other Isfahan. Obviously I won't use the petals that have gone over, another iceberg, but there's still quite a lot of buds there. so I'm sure she won't miss if I take some of her petals to make my syrup, because really at the end of the day you don't get many opportunities in the year to be able to pick these rose petals, especially the ones that are damask roses, which are the most fragrant and the best ones to use. So I feel quite lucky that I've got two quite substantial shrubs here to have a practice on. Okay, so I think basically that concludes for today. Well, it's probably the last time maybe you'll see these Ispahan roses this year, so hopefully you've enjoyed seeing them. I think the star of the show today has got to be William Shakespeare over there, looking absolutely stunning today. I do have one in the back garden, though it's not so big as this one. This one's quite a good, oops, sorry about that, good size specimen shrub now. But yes, it's the best of the roses in the front garden at the moment. Oh, just before we go, I'll just take you for a quick wander around the back of the building, which is what we call the barn. Upstairs, there is an upstairs in here, it's got attic trusses, and this is where I make all of my besom brooms. Making besom brooms is my business. That's what I do. I work from home, I make besom brooms and sell them on Etsy and other places. Oh look, there's Madame Alfred Carrier, budding up again actually. So yeah, she's doing okay. Quite like this little area around the back of the barn. I try to keep it weed free, just let the flowers grow randomly really, and it seems to be quite pretty. And then round this side, which is coming up the main drive side, we've got Lady Emma Hamilton here. I'll try and get the other side so that the sun's behind me, although having the sun on her it does make her look very yellow, which she isn't. There we go, let's get her in some shade. So this is Lady Emma Hamilton. She's beautiful, lots of different shades of orange and apricot, and she has a magnificent fragrance. So last year she got to be about 5.5 feet high, and then I did what I did with all of my roses this year. I chopped her really hard back, and so now she's standing at about waist height for me. I'm 5'11", so she's about probably 3 foot tall at the moment. And then on the wall here, the barn wall, we've got Princess Alex, Crown Princess Margarita. She's got some fabulous flowers, gorgeous flowers. Just love the way that when they fade, you get the two-tone. It's lovely, and a fabulous scent too. Right, okay, so I'll say goodbye to you for today, and the next video I show you, unless it's just a one that I make on the hop, the next video should be of the back garden again. The flowers are starting to come into bloom a little bit more now, so there should be something nice to show you there. Oh, and just going back to the damask rose here, I have just made a short-ish video about how to make rose syrup, which is something that I do every year. I thought it might be of interest to some people to see what the method was. I've got so many beautiful roses that I always like to preserve a little bit of the summertime for use later in the year, and I do that by making my rose syrup, which I can then use to add to gin, a gin and tonic, which is a fabulous flavour for that, or Turkish delight. I've made that a few times as well, or just to have for pouring over ice cream. And another thing that I do tend to do, because I stew a lot of my apples through the autumn time, I do add some of the rose syrup to the stewed apples, and it's amazing. And also rose jam. I've made rose jam from them as well in the past. So a lot of these things will be coming up in my future videos, because I'm a very hands-on, practical person. I love to bake, and I was brought up in a household where we had fruit trees and bushes of currant bushes and things like that, and my mum used to make her own jam and make her own bread, so I've taken all of that on board, and I've always made my own produce wherever I can. So yeah, hopefully that will be of interest to people. So that'll be my rose syrup video coming soon. But I'll leave you with this one. Have a lovely day and enjoy your garden. Thanks for watching. Bye.